I'd like to talk about feelings and emotions and thoughts. I know the distinction between thoughts and feelings and emotions.
We mean the same when we say feelings or emotions. Emotion is response to the mix of vibration. And once an emotion gains some momentum, that's probably when you'd start calling it a feeling, because there's a stronger manifestation of it in your physical body. And all emotions are in response to the mix of thought between what you're thinking and what your inner being is thinking in any given moment.
I feel very much in alignment a lot, and I experience this
guidance.
It's almost like swimming in the ocean of good feeling and good thoughts.
Yeah.
And yet I desire to physically feel excitement, or I have this kind of, it seems very narrow and it's pleasant and it's awesome, and I don't have the negative.
The way you do that, you may be, and a lot of people do this, you may be trying to maintain the safety of alignment without the risk of misalignment. And so
that's what I came for.
So sometimes you don't allow your thoughts to move around enough in order to allow strong enough momentum to really get going. When you think about it, sort of like in the rampage that we were offering a little bit ago, if you have a thought that feels good to you and you stay focused on it, other thoughts like it will join it. And if you stay there long enough, you'll get some momentum until you will allow it to parlay itself into something that is really exhilarating. But most people are too objective for that. So you're thinking the thought about what you want, but then another thought slips in, and thinking about what you want, and then another thought slips in. You following? What I do want, what I don't want, what I do want, what I don't want. It's interesting that we're having this conversation because just this week, Esther had a first-time experience during meditation, because she, like you, is wanting to be aware of what receiving mode she's in. In other words, you're always in a receiving mode, but from what broadcasting tower am I receiving? And of course, she wants to receive from the broadcasting tower of source energy. But you don't always, because there are things going on and you have habits of thought about different things. So Esther sat to meditate. Now, she's been listening to us, especially lately. We've been putting a lot of emphasis on meditation and saying that the point of meditation is to quiet your mind as completely as you can, because when you stop thought, you stop resistant thought. And when you stop resistant thought, your vibration rises, and now you're in the receiving mode of your highest source. And that's when the good ideas flow, and that's when the magic begins to happen, and so forth. So Esther, on this day, had a particularly good meditation, only 15 minutes, that's what we recommend. And toward the end of the 15 minutes, she received what she knows is a download of thought. She knew she was receiving it from broader perspective because it wasn't anything that she'd been thinking about at all. And it involved some people that she has known and had some interaction with on one of her houses some years ago. And as the thought came about them, now, this thought swam in on the current of pure positive energy. She knew it for sure. But because the subject matter was something that she had a vibration that she had left in a different place, it swam in and she found the other thought right in the middle of meditation. This thought felt really good until she focused upon the subject of the thought, and then the thought that was activated before, where she'd last left that thought, became activated and sort of had a little dance. It was so interesting to Esther. Right in the middle of meditation, which is a quieted mind, she's contemplating, okay, now I know that thought was pure positive energy, and then I messed it up with this thought. And her question was, sort of like this question that you're asking here, Abraham, how does that happen? If I was pure positive energy, and in my pure positive energy, I had this thought, then how could it go south so fast? And we say, Because your vibration relative to subjects is right where you last left it. And we were guiding her to returning to the love for these people that is natural to her, rather than remembering where the relationship last left. And she was so excited then when she completely came out of meditation. She knew that this was a bridging of belief. And further, she knew, because she's been hearing us say, when you get tuned in and you're in the receiving mode, your inner being will lead you to the path of least resistance. Well, if there is resistance on the path, sometimes it is helpful for you from your high-flying disc, from your connection with source energy, to shine some light on something that does have some resistance, to release the resistance from it. And that's what happened for the most part. That subject's not the same subject that it was before. You following us? So Abraham, does that mean that my inner being has an attitude or opinion about everything that I have an attitude or opinion about? Yeah. So you always love those guys no matter what they did to me, right? Right. Oh. So you're not ever going to join me in a negative thought about anyone. Right. So if I want to be fully who I am and fully in alignment with who I am, I got to find some way, if I'm going to think about that, of thinking about it in a way that allows alignment. And that's the process of bridging those thoughts. There are so many thoughts that you could think about that you could go through the buffet and just not choose those things and just choose the things you like. But if one of the things in the buffet is married to you, you might want to find a way of coming into alignment with yourself while you focus upon that person. So that's what you're reaching for, yes?
The thoughts are easy for me to guide or be guided by. The thoughts are the easy. It's the physical feeling, like in my body. I know that we want manifested, but like when you talk about desire, I can think, oh, I'd like to do that, and I'd like to, but I don't feel.
Well, then that's because you're not letting that thought run raucously through the woods long enough before you kill it with a contradictory thought. That's what Esther discovered. She could not have been more in alignment. She was in that place of deep breathing. She was soaring with the angels. She could feel her connection. And a thought came that felt so good. And it was because she introduced a contradictory thought to it. But you see, she was in meditation in a place where she could really feel the difference. She could really feel the difference. And right now, according to you, you can't feel that difference because you're telling us something that you believe for sure that just can't be true. You're telling us that you're holding a positive thought and that it's not gaining momentum. Like that's natural. That's not natural. A positive thought will gain momentum unless you're introducing negative thoughts to it.
You know, I guess I've always held that the opening of every seminar, every meeting, you say, are you knowing what you're wanting?
Yes.
And I say sometimes, most of the time.
Yes.
Or not at all. But I guess I'm looking at the physical sensations.
The physical sensation is guidance, it's emotion. And your physical sensation, if you're not getting to a place where you're soaring on a really regular basis, then you have thoughts that are active in your vibration that you're not admitting to. And Esther was doing the same thing. She didn't even know she was doing it. It was just easy to avoid that subject. A subject that she doesn't want to avoid. She wants to love those people. But she wasn't loving those people because she was remembering where she'd last left it. And they don't deserve to be loved. You see what we're getting at?
I do.
But Esther deserves to love them. And Esther can't bear not to love them because her inner being is. So if it's someone that you can just avoid the subject of, then fine. Choose other thoughts. But if it keeps coming up, then you got to change it. We know you think you're asking a different question, but you're not. It's the same question. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So if you are focused upon something and there's no resistance in it, that thought is just going to swell and become more, and the momentum of it is going to become more until everything is just going to feel so delicious to you that you just can hardly bear it. In Esther's dream last night, she was walking somewhere in some place that she doesn't even know that she's been, looking up into a sky that she doesn't even know exists, and seeing a moon that was more beautiful, and an owl flying, and a bat flying, and a seagull flying, and all these beautiful things flying. The dream was representing the vibrational absence of resistance that was going on then, you see. And it just got more and more beautiful. Then light came into it, and then the sky became beautiful. It was like the northern lights. It was like in her dream, she was allowing the universe to just add to it and 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 add to it until it was nearly incomprehensible. In her dream, she couldn't even find words to describe it, and finally just gave up on trying to find any words and just enjoyed the beautiful festival that was happening all around. And that's what will happen to you anytime you pick a good feeling thought and stick with it. But law of attraction doesn't really let you pick a good feeling thought and stick right with it. If there's a subject that's active within you, or that was one time active within you, that contradicts that thought, the focusing upon things that you want will naturally release the resistance. That's really what we want to say to you. We'll say it to you in this way. If you have a desire that is strong enough, it doesn't matter what you believe, that desire will triumph. But the benefit of recognizing your emotions and catching yourself in the early subtle stages of a dip is essential to maintaining the control of the thoughts that you're thinking so that it can increase.
I'm great at that. But it just brings me back to, not apathy, but it brings me back to this lovely feeling of joy and happiness, and what you said earlier, which is I don't let it go.
We can see how that's hard to take. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. And now that I'm used to that, I want more.
Feel what you're doing. I love this, but it's not enough. And there's lack in that vibration that holds it right there. Clarity. Sometimes people think that what we're promoting here is bouncing off the wall enthusiasm. Well, that's fun sometimes, but it gets tiring. But something that is satisfying, just right. And sometimes bouncing off the wall enthusiasm is what's satisfying. And sometimes peaceful contemplation is what's satisfying. And sometimes an interest in something is satisfying. And so we think that if you'll just focus upon feeling satisfied, that the satisfaction will grow. But you're dissatisfied. You're saying, I want this feeling to become more, and that will slow it down. We'd like this day, it's so good to play with you like this. Nice of you to come and bring your vibrational patterns, because it's so pleasing to us to watch those patterns shifting in the context of this co-creative experience. We don't want to tease you by acknowledging that we know what's in your vortex and that we know how to lead you from wherever you are to those magnificent outcomes. But we know where you stand in relationship to everything you want. And so it's not a tease, it's more like a fulfilling of a long-held agreement. You said, I'll go into my body. And we said, good, we won't. And you said, and I'll be on the leading edge. And we said, that's nice. We'll hold back where we can maintain vibration. And you said, I'll explore contrast. And we said, we really appreciate you doing that. It will benefit all of us. And you said, and I'll find new. And we said, good, because the expansion of the universe depends upon it. And you said, and I'll keep finding it. And we said, good, because that's what puts the eternalness in eternity. And you said, and I'll find new. And we said, we know. That's why you're going. And then we said, when you find the new, we'll shine a light on it so that you can find it too. Because when you find the new, you're going to find it first by looking at what isn't wanted. And you're going to launch a rocket of desire that's not going to be natural, because your vibration of sameness is what is natural. The new rocket of desire is new. And it's not easy for you to hold to the new rocket of desire, because what caused you to launch it is more dominant in your vibration. So we said, once you launch the rocket, we will give our undivided attention to the new that you have caused. And you said, I'll listen for you. And we said, we'll never stop broadcasting. And you said, I'll listen closely. And we said, we'll be loud and steady. And you said, I'll quiet my mind so that I can hear you. And we said,